Recent projections say Zion Williamson will not bring in $100 million in on-court value in the next 5 years. He's not even worth half of his newly signed max-level deal with the New Orleans Pelicans. That's according to 538's 2022-23 NBA 5-year projection. The projection system uses similar players throughout NBA history to develop a forecast of players' futures. Stay with us as we delve a little deeper into the big contracts and expectations for the season. First up, the Williamson deal and possible lack of value. The ink hasn't properly dried on the $188 million rookie max contract extension Williamson agreed. Some reports put his price tag at $193 million, and 2019 first overall pick could cash in for as much as $230 million if certain all-NBA thresholds are met this season, but projections only gave Williamson credit for $89 million in in-court value in the New York Pelicans. A lot of this is probably due to the small 85-game/3-year sample size due to Williamson's injuries, but the projections also dock Williamson for poor free throws and three-point shooting. The former Duke Blue Devil is only considered average at playing defense and passing the ball, and he is not the only player 538 projects to be negative return on investment. Next, Brandon Ingram also expected to diminish in value. The 25-year-old All-Star just signed a 5-year, $187 million extension. He's expected to diminish in value after this season. The projections categorized Ingram as an average starter, which shows computers do not watch NBA playoff games. Ingram shared the ball with CJ McCollum and Williamson, sure, but not to the point of being worth only $76 million over 5 years. Then Herb Jones will probably get more than that on his next deal. In fact, Jones's $100 million and Jose Alvarado's $90 million are the only Pelicans valued at substantially more. Budgeting for not on Herb's next contract is already a priority. Also, projections about Hayes, Daniels, Murphy, and McCollum. Projections are perhaps best suited for recently drafted prospects. Jackson Hayes is playing for his deal this season. 538 would only give him a 5-year evaluation of $25 million at the negotiation tables. Hayes could get an offer sheet worth far more next summer, which would put the Pelicans in the clock to decide in trade deadline. Dyson Daniels, $46 million, is projected to live up to his lottery pick draft status. Trey Murphy III, $37 million, is on track for a full MLE level extension according to these projects. McCollum, $60 million, Jonas Valanciunas, $63 million, and Larry Nassar Jr., $22 million, get some veteran respect. Devontae Graham is labeled as a below-average rotational piece. McCollum is due over $68 million over the next 2 years, and Valanciunas is guaranteed approximately $30 million over the same time frame. Nance Jr. is on a $9 million expiring contract, but has expressed interest in signing an extension with New Orleans, and overpaid and due for a reduction. The 538 chart suggested Williamson is vastly overpaid considering his accomplishments. McCollum is also in line for a massive pay reduction in 2 years. Their agents and NBA free agent market will most certainly disagree. Each team would probably have signed Williamson to the same max level deal. The Pelicans can expect to pay at least $20 million per season at a maximum to keep their former Trailblazer in town. Jones and Alvarado are bargains. Hayes and Murphy III know they have to play better or risk becoming mid-level journeymen on movable deals. Williamson and Ingram are already maxed out financially. Seeing this kind of slight could provide a little extra motivation for the two former All-Stars to reach those All-NBA contract escalating milestones. Okay, so what about other changes this season? Gail Benson will gladly pay the contract premiums while enjoying another NBA playoffs run, and Antonio Daniels is scratching a hard-to-ignore coaching itch this summer. New Orleans Pelicans broadcaster Antonio Daniels is scratching a coach itch that has been persistent for years. One never knows what can be learned from a conversation that starts based on basketball. Approached honestly, it's a lesson worth reliving, especially when getting to talk with current New Orleans Pelican broadcaster and NBA champion Antonio Daniels. The former San Antonio Spur explained some of his life's journey between NBA Summer League games and SiriusXM radio shows, and why his next move might be to bench instead of another broadcasting booth. Asking about the champ behind the camp and his first experiences as a child provided the canvas of the blessing yet come and those to be shared with others. As far as a first hoops heaven type of camp experience, Daniels simply shared, "There were none, we couldn't afford it. I don't even remember my first camp as a kid, we couldn't afford to go to camps. You know what got me in love with the sport of basketball is competition." Now his week-long camps in San Antonio are some of the most affordable, most engaging camps in the country, and he hopes to expand the programs to New Orleans. Now, more about Daniels' past and future. In the NBA, Daniels is one half of the best broadcasting duo in the NBA, partnering with Joel Myers. However, he admits to having the itch for coaching for a while. Quote, "You know, I've had the itch to coach for quite some time because I love teaching the game of basketball. This persistent coaching itch helps inform his broadcasting approach." Daniels explained, "That's how I tried to approach my job. You know, I don't want to talk at the fans as an analyst. You know, I want to explain the game to the fans as an analyst." And there's a drastic difference between the two. Quote, "When you hear a broadcast with myself and Joe Myers, I would hope that from my aspect of things, because it's my job to tell why and how, it is Joel's job to tell them what happened. My job, hopefully you leave a New Orleans Pelicans broadcast with more knowledge than you had when you started. Whatever it is I'm trying to do, whether it's coaching in young lives that God has entrusted me with, or the Pelicans broadcast, you know, I want to teach the game. I want to teach the sport. I feel like that's one of the things that God has blessed me with." So where did it start? His mother taught him to always be the smartest one in the room. Quote, "It makes so much sense," he said, "because it means you're constantly in a state of being coachable. You're constantly in a state of learning." He added more timeless pearls of wisdom, saying, "Like, even when we're not doing games, all I'm doing is watching League Pass. Obviously, I have my own Sirius XM radio show. I have to watch for that, but when I'm also learning from other analysts. Learning from analysts that have done this longer than I have and seeing just how they approach their job, seeing how they articulate the game to their particular fan base. Every day I'm listening to other broadcasts, other analysts and play-by-play guys. I'm trying to learn and take as much as I can from that as well. You never stop learning." Now, national media is pushing for more Pelicans on TV. Anticipation for the season is higher than ever before. Several trades and a few return stars have opened championship windows for a dozen franchises. The New Orleans Pelicans are a new name amongst all the usual suspects, and the return of Zion Williamson as the national media lobbying for the team to get more exposure. One of the biggest names in hoops, the athletic Shams Charania, wants to see Brandon Ingram versus Kevin Durant get the primetime television treatment it deserves. Add Zion Williamson, who was cleared to play unrestricted basketball back in May 26, and it's hard to imagine why the NBA's TV partners passed on this game. It would not lack advertising dollars considering the markets and star power involved. This is arguably the most important game in the first week considering Williamson's rehab and Durant's now rescinded trade demands. This could also be the first game for Ben Simmons with the Nets and the first time the Brooklyn Big Three of Durant, Simmons, and Kyrie Irving played together. Also, the Pelicans are almost out of a season ticket options. The New Orleans Pelicans can hear the crunch of Saints training camp outside the offices, but excitement inside the basketball side of the building is just as palpable. According to multiple sources, the Pelicans are close to selling out their season opening game and, quote, are expecting the schedule to be released sometime next week. Sales have been the best in the team history and have been consistent since the playoff run. Seats are almost sold out on the floor and the team is on pace to sell out the lower bowl this season. There are a very limited number of lower bowl tickets remaining for what ongoing ticket sales emails dubs the golden era of Pelicans basketball. The NBA 2022 preseason schedule is set with the Pelicans opening the slate against Lonzo Ball's Chicago Bulls. New Orleans returns home to play once in the Smoothie King Center, Chicago Bulls, before hitting the road to face the San Antonio Spurs and Miami Heat. The last exhibition will be a home game in Birmingham versus the new-look Atlanta Hawks. It's been a long while and a day since there were so many excitements about a new NBA season both on and off the court. It promises to be a bumper year for fans and course players. But now, with the whiff of the new NBA season in the air, we're going to end this video. Please remember to keep watching out for our next uploads. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one, my friends. Thanks for watching.